So right after watching this tutorial, you'll be able to create your own chatbot using free resources. Yes, free resources. Everything we are going to be using in this tutorial to create this chatbot is free. You are not going to pay for any large language model. You are not going to pay for anything, okay? So we'll be using Llama 3.1, which is open source model from Meta, Facebook, and also we'll be using this together with the LangChain framework, and we are going to build a chatbot that can answer questions based on your own data. So if you have your business data, you have your company's data, you have some PDFs laying around, which you think you need a bot to answer questions based on those PDFs, this tutorial is also for you. At the end, you learn everything and you also get the code and modify this code to your own specification. So just enjoy this tutorial, also share with someone, and let's get right into it. Before we get into this tutorial, please, if you have not yet subscribed, kindly subscribe because this will encourage me to produce more videos for you. Data from YouTube, most of my viewers have not yet subscribed. So if you are one of them, kindly press the subscribe button like crazy and also share my content with your friends. Thank you, and I know you've done that already. Okay, so first thing first, let's go through the requirements we need for this particular tutorial. So these are the libraries we need to install. So if you have been following my channel, you know we've built a lot of chatbots already on this channel, and the process is the same, just that with this one we'll be using Llama 3.1, and we are going to use the free model. So that means we are not going to pay even a penny, because from my other tutorials we've used OpenAI models, and you have to subscribe for their API subscription and whatsoever. But this one, I make sure that I've done everything so that you don't pay even a penny to use this. Okay, so we'll install these libraries. So these are the requirements. I've already installed this. I just want this tutorial to be short, so I'll just walk you through. If you want a detailed tutorial about this where you want to understand everything, I've done a tutorial about this and I'll link it in the description for you. With that one, I code it one-on-one and explain everything you need to know. Okay, so that's just out of the way. So I've installed all these libraries already, and I'll be sharing this code with you and the requirement as well. All you need is to install these libraries and do some changes to your data and just run it. So I'll close this app, and the next thing is to create .env file where we'll have to put in your API key here. So speaking about API key, I've taught you how to set up Llama 3.1 model with LangChain. So we are going to get the API from Grok AI, and it's absolutely free. One thing I like about it most is the speed. So it has a lot of inference speed. So let's head over to our browser and search for Grok AI. So I just do that. That should be Grok. Okay, click enter. So if you don't have account with them, kindly sign up for an account, because I've already done that. You can see here's my account, of which I can even log out. Okay, so from here, click on API keys, and you will be able to create your own API key. All right, so over here I've already created some API keys, but I'll create a new one, and I'll just name this subscribe as usual, so that you guys will be reminded to subscribe. All right, so I'll now copy this key and I'll press done, and that's all I need. So that's all I need for now. I'll head over back to my code and I'll paste this right here, and I'll give it a name called key, and key is equal to my API key. I can now save this and then close the .env file. So the next thing you will need is the data on which you want to build your chatbot on. What do you want your chatbot to respond on? Okay, so you need some data. Maybe you have a company data, you have your own data, you want the chatbot to answer questions based on that data. We'll need that data in here. So with this one, I have the data in the form of PDF, but if you have a data in TST and anything at all, don't worry. Some of my tutorials, which I'll link in the description, I've used TST data, and it's just a one-line code swap. Okay, so this is my data I'll be using, and this data is mainly about AI. So the topic is brief introduction to artificial intelligence, and this is for teaching purpose only. So you need to have your data. It can be your business data or any form of data at all. So I'll close this app and then I'll open the code, and here is the code already written. So the first thing to do, I'll even restart this kernel. So after restarting the kernel, I expect everything to be loaded. I'm using Python 3.9.8, so you can also use that to prevent any error. All right, so the first thing first is to import these libraries, and I've imported quite a lot of libraries, of which I would like to speak more about when we are using them. All right, but these two first ones are .env and then OS. I'm just using them to load our API keys, of which you see them very soon. Okay, so I'll run this, and if everything goes well, if all the installation are correct, this should load up these libraries, and you can see you have the success tick mark here that shows that okay, you've correctly imported these libraries. From there, we have to load in our API key. So you just have an instance of the .env library, load.env, and this will load any API key you have in any .env file. And then here we are just getting that particular API key, which we have named key. Okay, from there we have to get the LLAMA model we want to use. So we are using LLAMA 3.170 billion parameter model, and I will just show you how to get that particular model. So back on Grok, you can click on Playground, and over here in your Playground, you can see there are a lot of models right here you can use. Okay, so we have Gemini model, we have LLAMA, we have LLAMA 3.1, LLAMA 3.1, LLAMA 3. And we have a lot of models, some from Mistral, and also OpenAI have Whisper Large also. So this tutorial is based on Llama 3.170 billion. So I'm just choosing this one. And then you can go on view code, and then you can just copy model is equal to this, or you can just type the name right in your code. So that's how I'm getting that particular model and the particular name. Okay, so back in the code, I've just specified that my model is equal to this particular one. You can test any other models you want. You have the freedom to test any other model. So I'll run this, and this will load up my API key and also instantiate the particular model I want to use. Then from there, we have an instance of our chat grok, because this chat grok will allow us to use our model via LangChain. Okay, so in my recent tutorial, I taught you how to use this chat grok, of which I show you how you can link llama models with LangChain. So that's what is helping us to do, to get a model, and then it accepts parameters such as what API key and the model as well. So API key, we are giving it right here, and the model, we have also instantiated it right here. So that's all we need to do. And you can ask it a question right here to test if the model is indeed working. So we use model.invoke to get that question. So you can see our model is working, and we had a response, but this response unfortunately is an AI message which has content and other parameters if I should scroll. So we have a lot of other things we don't need: total tokens, output tokens, and so on. We only need the string, but we are getting AI message, and I'll teach you how to get the string just now. All right, so to get a string, we have to use something called string output parser in LangChain. So when we go back to the import, you can see over here, I'm importing what string output parser from core output parsers. Okay, so this string output parser will help us to extract only the string from our model. Instead of AI message, we will just extract the string. So to do that, we say I call it parser, and then I've instantiated a string output parser, and now I can chain this parser together with my model, and it will just get me the string or the output of the model. So I've called this one chain, and the chain is equal to model, and then I've used the pipe here to join them together. That means anything we get out of this model will first go to the parser, and the parser will filter it and get you only the content. Okay, so we only need the content. So that's what we are doing right here. And if I should run this, you can see that's giving me the success tick mark. So now I can come back and do chain.invoke what is coding, and I should get a response without an AI message. I only need the content now, not an AI message. Yes, so you can see now we got coding, also known as computer programming. We got a response. By this time, we don't have it as an AI message. We just got the content, and that's what we are looking for. So that's how you can use the string output parser to get rid of AI message and get only the content. All right, so these few steps have helped us to set up the model. From now on, we are coming to use this model on our own data. So because of that, we are loading our data. So if you can see right here, the name of my PDF file is what? AI introduction.pdf. Okay, so I'm just loading that data. I'm using PyPDF. So over here, you can see from LangChain community.document loader. So I'm using what? PyPDF. So there are other loaders you can use. So if you have a TST loader, you can just go and open LangChain documentation. So you can see maybe just come here and do LangChain TST loader. Okay, so when this opens, you see we have a lot of loaders in LangChain you can use based on your data. So you can see document loader. So if you want to use TST loader, you can see test loader, and then you can read your test, any form of test at all you have. So it's so simple. You just import it, and then you can use it. But we are using a PDF file, so we'll use what? PDF loader. All right. So that's the loader we'll be using. You can import the test loader as well. All right. So with the test loader, if you are using a test loader, then in your case, you are not coming to use PyPDF loader. You have to instantiate your test loader and read the test into it. But we are using a PDF loader. So in this PDF loader, I just instantiate the PDF loader and I give it a file, and this will give me a file loader. And over this file loader, I can use file loader.load and split, and this will load and split my data for me. So if I run this code, it will load it. It will take some time based on how big your data is. This is not any big data, so it has loaded the data and has splitted it into 9 different pages for me. So you can see the length of pages I've gotten 9. So if your data is very big, you are going to get more based on the size of your data. All right, so after reading this data, we need to split it into chunks. Okay, so when we are working with chatbots, we need something we call vector databases. So with vector database, store your data in a chunk so that when you want to retrieve it, you can retrieve each chunk at a time. So for that reason, LangChain gives us something called the recursive characters test splitter. There are other splitters with LangChain, just as the file and text loaders. So I'm using recursive character test splitter, and inside it I can specify the chunk size and chunk overlap. So chunk size is the size of my chunk, like how big should each chunk be, because I'm splitting it into smaller portions. So how big should each portion be? And then the overlap is like let's say you have a word. So let me do a markdown. Let's say you have a word, maybe I'm going to school. Let me write this right. And you have another word that I love coding. So overlap is like, okay, now this is one chunk. So where should the next chunk start from? So when you specify overlap based on some particular number, so let's say in this my case, we specify overlap to be, let's say 2. Then I love coding will start from to school, and I love coding. So that some of the first words, or some of your first chunk, some of the words in your first chunk can be in the words of the second chunk. And that will help our bot to be able to get the context right. Okay, so that's what overlap means, and we have just specified overlap of 50. You can play with it. Okay, you can play with it, select different overlaps to see which one makes your chat more brilliant. So that's it. We are using the recursive character test splitter. We are reading it, specify the chunk size, and also chunk overlap. So these are things you can play with based on the size of your data. And because this data is small, I can specify 100, and instead of 50 here, I can do 20. So you can play with them to get the right one to work with. All right, so over here now I've done that. I've splitted it, and we are importing this also from LangChain. So from LangChain, you can see we have what? Recursive character splitter. There are other splitters in LangChain. You just have to search about it. So when you come to LangChain page, you can search about test splitters, and when you hit enter, this will give you a whole lot of test splitters if I'm at the right thing. So let me check. So we have, you can see they have the recursive test splitter here. They have the token test splitter. A whole lot of, you just have to read a little bit about them and know how to use them. Okay. We have which one, sentence transformer token test splitter. So there is a lot of test splitters in LangChain based on the data you have. If you have HTML, you have a splitter for it. A whole lot of splitters in LangChain. So it depends on the one you actually want to use. All right, so let's get back into our code. We are using recursive test splitter. Okay, so now from splitting, we have to go to the next stage whereby we convert our document into an embedding. Okay, so we have to embed this particular document we have, or these pages we have, and then from embedding, we store them into a vector storage. So when you are working with a large language model, the best storage is what? Vector storage. So there are a lot of vector storage you can use. We have Python, we have files. I think this files is from Facebook. We also have Docker array. So LangChain has a lot of them, and you have to just choose from them. So we are using files, and I've also imported that. Let me send you back to the import, and you can see from LangChain community.vector stores, I'm importing what? Files. So I'm just coming to use this as a vector storage, but vector storage only accepts what? Embedding. So we have to embed our text because our text is in string format. So we have to embed it. So that's what I'm doing here. So I've specified that vector storage equals files and dot from document. So over here, I'm sending in the pages we are getting from here. Okay. So let me just even get rid of it and rerun this. So I'm sending in the pages we are getting from here, and then I'm just converting that pages into embeddings. So let's talk about embeddings. So embedding literally means you are converting your data you have in a string format or your data in that particular format to numerical format so that we can store it into the vector database. So over here, the embedding model we are using is fake embeddings from LangChain, and this embedding model is for practicing, or is for testing your pipelines only. Okay, this is not something you use in production. In production, you can use the OpenAI embeddings, and because I want this tutorial to be free, I'm using these embeddings, because for OpenAI embeddings we have to get an API key from OpenAI. So we have a whole lot of embeddings which you can also search on the LangChain page, but almost all of them you need an API key, but this particular one you can just use it to test your pipeline or to test whatever you are doing. So you just specify it and you give it a size, and for your information, we are importing that particular one too. So you can see from LangChain community.embeddings, you are importing fake embeddings. So you need to import it, and then you can use that particular embedding model. Okay, so that's what we are doing. We are converting the text to embedding and saving it into vector storage. And then we are converting our vector storage as a retriever so that we can use it to retrieve information in the vector storage. So once I click this, this will go ahead and convert all those tests into embeddings and save it into the vector storage. So we also have retriever here, which you can use it to get information from the vector storage. And later in this tutorial, you will see how to use that one as well. From there, we need to construct a template for our chatbot so that our chatbot will be instructed on what to do. Okay, so the template tells the bot that okay, this is what to do, and this some of the tools or the data I'll be giving you to accomplish what I want you to do. So over here, I'm just telling the bot you are a smart bot that answers questions based on the context given to you. And remember, this context is the data we've loaded and converted into embeddings and stored in the vector storage. So return the answer and don't make things up. That's it. Shows the very short instruction. You can give the instruction based on your use case. This is for teaching purpose. So I just did something simple so that you guys can relate with. Then over here I'm passing in the context and also the question. So in this template, I'll be passing what context and the question so that the bot will take the questions, and this based on this question, it will use it to retrieve the data and give context to the LLM, and the LLM will answer questions based on that context. So I'll run this, and if everything goes well, you can see we have the success mark. All right, so now that we have our template, we are what formatting this template. Okay, so you can see prompt template dot from template, and then the template is our question template we've constructed, and over here we are telling it, we are also printing it so that you can see here is the context to use, and also answer this question based on the context given to you. So when I run it, you can see now we have the template. You are a smart bot, and whatsoever, and the content is here is the content. So this content will later be retrieved from our vector storage where we've uh, store our embeddings or our data. Okay, and the question is the question coming from you, the user. Okay, all right. So in order to make this bot work, we need a way to pass in this question, and this question should go and retrieve the context, and this context the LLM will use it to what answer your question. So you can see we need something that can pass through these data sequentially. That's where the runnable parallel and the runnable pass through comes in. So your runnable parallel takes in this context, and this context is equal to your retriever, because I told you earlier on that we have this particular retriever here which will help us to retrieve information from the database, the vector database. Okay, so from there, when the where is it, when the runnable parallel retrieves that particular context, the runnable pass through will take that context and your questions and give it to the large language model. Okay, this is the question coming from the user, and based on this question, this is the context we have gotten in his data. So use this question and the context to answer the user. So I think you get what I mean. So it will go and take that context, take the question, and the runnable parallel can what and a runnable pass-through can take all those two parameters and send it to the LLM, and the LLM will now what answer your question based on these two things. Okay, so that's it. That's what a runnable parallel and a runnable pass-through is doing. From there, since we are using LangChain, we have to chain everything up. Okay, so any result we get from the runnable parallel and a runnable pass through, we chain that particular result with our prompt and chain it with our model, and then finally we pass through the parser so that we get only the string. So we are chaining all the steps we have done ahead as one pipeline, and this is what we can now use to ask questions, and based on those questions it will retrieve context, and based on that context our LLM will answer us. Okay, so the LLM answers based on both context and question. Okay, so I'm calling this chain because we are chaining everything now. You can come up with a more good name than me. All right, so now that's it. We have our chain, and then with this chain we can use it to tell our bot on what to do. So before you even test the chain, I also told you you can use the retriever to get pages of documents based on questions. So if you want maybe on which page is it written that what is AI, you can use the retriever to get that, because this is the same process our bot uses. It takes this question and uses the retriever to get the information from the vector database, and both the question and the information is passed through your large language models, and your large language model will now come out with a solution. So we can use the retriever to get some of it. So if I search what is AI, you can see we have return pages here where they have context about what is AI, or there is some context of AI in our document. All right, so let's just go back to our PDF, and okay, I think I can copy this one, AI at work today, and we just put this into it and see what we'll get. So I'll paste that, AI at work today, and I'll just use it, and you can see it is able to retrieve data based on whatever thing we've sent to it. I see what is AI is able to give me, and it said based on the context provided. That means I've given it some context, which in this case is the data. I can answer that AI refers to, then you can see the context of computers learning to improve, and it has even given you the page and whatsoever. So you can instruct it not to bring these junk stuffs, only the answer and all those things in your prompt template. So in your prompt template, you can tell it the instruction you want it to do, and it will return that to you. So this how easy you can create your own chatbot using LLAMA 3.1 and LangChain. So this has been very easy, and this has been just a walkthrough tutorial, because I've done this tutorial, very comprehensive tutorial, where I taught you and hold your hand into it, how this thing is done and everything. Guys, so thanks for watching. If you have watched up to this part of the tutorial, give me a thumbs up, and also leave a comment about anything you think we can do about this, or just leave a comment. Okay, I appreciate it when you guys leave comments. Okay, thanks for watching once again, and I'll see you in the upcoming tutorial.